The next problem is a problem in which some of the products that we produce as output are used as input for some other products also. So as you have a portfolio of products, okay, and all of the products are sold to our customers, but some of the products are not only sold to the customers, but we use it as an input for producing some other products as well. So how do you handle a production situation like that? So here is the information given. Okay, let's jump right into Excel file and review the input data. Okay. So here we have 3 products, drug A, B, and C, and it requires labor hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, and 3 hours of labor for each of the 3 products. And we are also given the selling price for the 3 drugs. That's input also. And then we are given the labor hours available. Okay. Now, how many units of these 3 drugs we're going to produce, that's our decision variable. Yeah. Now, units used in production will not be available for sales. So once we figure out how many units of each of these drugs will be used by ourselves, we will ourselves consume for production of other products, then the balance is what we can sell. So units sold will be how many units we're going to produce minus how many units we'll be using in the production itself. Okay, that's what we will be selling. Now, how many units will we use? We have to figure that out, and there are a couple of different ways in which you can figure it out. Now here, let's use the same procedure that's in the text. Now, here is the information that we need, that's also input, okay, to produce each of these 3 drugs. What are the inputs that we need of our own products? So drug A doesn't need anything, but drug B needs 2 units of drug A. So for each unit of drug B that we produce, we're going to consume 2 units of drug A. For drug C, we're going to consume 1 unit of drug B. So let's set this up here and then add them up. Okay. Now we'll give a name here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply how many units of A we're going to make, how many units of B we're going to make, how many units of C we're going to make. Okay. We can compute this directly, but let's do this way. Okay. How many units of A we're going to make, and we're going to have to copy this down below, so the row should remain the same. Okay, multiplied by how many units will it be used for producing drug A. Okay. Now if we copy that and copy that down, so that will give you the number of units that will be used up for producing the other products, and then you sum this. And you sum that like that, then you get the total used. Okay. For example, if you're going to produce 1 unit of B, then you see 2 times 1 unit, 2 units of drug A will be used up in production of other products. And similarly here, if you use 1 unit, then 1 unit of B will be used in the production of C. Okay. Now we need to get these 3 here. Okay. From a column, we have to make it into a row. You can do this one by one. Okay, you can set this equal to you can set this equal to that and set that one equal to that one and so on. But if you have like 15 or 20 different products, that would be a cumbersome thing to do. So there is a Excel function that is very handy, which is called transpose. And this transpose function is a special kind of function. It's called array function. Okay, array function should be entered in a particular way. Okay, if you simply type transpose, it won't work. So you have to first highlight the range into which the result of the function should go. So we want these 3 cells to go as 3 cells in a row. 3 cells in a column should be converted to 3 cells in a row. So first highlight those 3 cells. Okay. After highlighting those 3 cells, then you do the function transpose and highlight those 3. Okay. Now close parenthesis, but don't press enter. Close parenthesis, but if you press enter as is, then the function will not get entered as an array function. For it to be entered as an array function, you have to press Control and Shift with your left hand and keep Control and Shift pressed. Don't let it go, and then press the enter key. Now that will put the squiggly brackets by itself and do an array function of these 3. So this will become a row. Okay, so now we have the units sold. Now the units you're producing, okay, there's a constraint here. You should at least produce the amount of quantity that will be used in our own production. Okay, even if you don't sell any, you should at least produce what you need. So that's one set of constraints. And hours used will be, you need to give a name. Okay, did we give a name already? Okay, this is already named. Okay, let's give some names now. So labor hours needed. Okay, so this is unit selling price. So we'll define a name. Selling price. Okay, these 2. And hours used, hours available, name those. Okay, so here then we can do some product of labor hours needed and units of production. So that will give us the labor hours used, which should be less than or equal to labor hours available. And the revenue here is some product of, not production, because that's not what we will be selling. We will be selling units sold with selling price. So that will give us the revenue to be maximized, and that's a objective cell. So now we are ready to run solver. So we're going to maximize that. Changing cells are these. The constraints are units produced must be greater than or equal to units used in production. So that's 1. And then hours used must be less than or equal to hours available. Okay. Units produced greater than or equal to units used in production, and labor hours less than or equal to. So non-negative, simplex LP, and solve. And you get the answer. Now we will, once you have the answer, then we can do sensitivity analysis. And the sensitivity analysis we want to do here is for the selling price of drug C. So go to solver table. and we want the input cell to be the selling price of drug C, and right now it is 100. How far up it needs to go before we start making drug C? Okay, so go from 100 to 200 in increments of 10. So right now we're not producing any at all, but how far up the price should rise before we start making drug C? So we want production quantities and say profit as well, or revenue. Okay, now you see that we start producing drug C once we hit $130 per unit price. Right now it is 100. If you hit 130, then we will start producing drug C as well. Okay, suppose we want to do a two-dimensional sensitivity, okay, for both hours of selling price and hours available. Okay, so we'll do a two-way table. Okay, now the first input is going to be same as previously used, so $100 to $200 in increments of 10. Okay. The second input is going to be how many hours of labor is available, and we will increase the labor from 4,000 to 10,000 hours in increments of 1,000. And the output that we want is the same two sets of output, units produced and comma control click revenue. So here we have the output tables, one for units produced, one the first drug, the second drug, the third drug, and the revenue. Okay, and we have two inputs. Okay, so we have the sensitivity tables for that. We can go and select any one of the four outputs, and you'll have a chart for that. So let's examine one of them. Let's look at the third drug. Okay, as the price increases, okay, again when you hit $130, you start making, and the number of labor hours increasing from 4,000 to 10,000, so you start producing more and more of it.